Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ox Talks. It's Monday, March the 11th, 2024. I hope all of you had a productive and healthy weekend this last weekend. We talk about all the time on this show using some downtime, presumably, which is weekend time, to shore up your resources, shore up your preparedness plan, your strategy of what you are going to do and what your family is going to do when, not if, but when something happens. When we have a real grid down situation, when we have a serious cyber attack, if you will, that actually does impact our daily lives, something more than just a minor disruption. So hope all of you will continue to think about that and how you would react. Most people would be caught very flat-footed, would not have anything in place, cash reserves, security, backup food, backup water. I know I mentioned this a lot on this channel. It sounds like a broken record. I'm sure I'm going to keep pounding this point home because we could talk about the economic collapse all day and real estate and inflation and food prices and insurance costs. All those things continue to spiral out of control and affect the man and woman on the street even more each and every day. We can discuss that. But you also have to think about what happens when these larger disruptions take place. What are you going to do? I saw and again, it's not doom and gloom, because once you put a plan in place, think it through, have a communication method set out with your family, have some of this stuff stored and acquired now. It won't be available, a couple of hours or especially a couple of days after something important, something critical happens. So once you plan ahead, a lot of the stuff you can really set it and forget it and then go on, live your life. Think about obviously making money and developing your business and spending the extra time with family and traveling. But think about having this stuff in place. Let me start by saying thanks for watching the videos. I really appreciate everyone subscribing to this channel, being a part of this growing community. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Continue to hit that thumbs up for me. It does wake up the algorithms, and also hit the bell notification. Share the videos with as many people as you can. The stuff that I bring to everyone's attention every day, at least from my perspective, is important. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of news that I just don't think is critical. Everybody can go and read the news. I try to highlight things here that I think are important and tie in to what we have to be looking ahead towards down the road. This first article just hit Zero Hedge in the last 20 minutes. I had a couple articles to share. I happened to pull this up, which I thought was very important. We talk about the cyber security threat to this country all the time. It is no joke. It is happening. The attacks are increasing, or the attempted attacks. We know what happened with the healthcare situation the last few weeks with the prescriptions. That is still an unfolding saga. And those things are going to start increasing with more severity. We have a just-in-time delivery system. As things come into our ports, they're put on trucks. Shelves are restocked every few days in your local town, and then the items are depleted. So what happens when that system is interrupted? What happens when the ships at the port are interrupted or disrupted, or there's a major delay and the trucks cannot then transport goods to your store shelves, food to your supermarket, things of that nature? This article is entitled, and it's very scary, and it says, China planted mystery devices on cranes used in United States ports, could seize control remotely, congressional letter says. The top Republicans from multiple House committees are sounding the alarm on a series of mysterious devices that appear to have been implanted into container cranes used throughout the U.S. port system by China. It says the lawmakers say the numerous modems with no known function were uncovered from ship-to-shore (STS) cranes, which are used to unload cargo at the nation's largest ports. All the cranes in question were manufactured by Shanghai Zuena, Heavy Industry ZPMC, a subsidiary of the state-owned China Communications Construction Company. The article goes on to say, lately the lawmakers noted that ZPMC's manufacturing facility is located adjacent to China's most advanced shipmaking facility, where the regime builds its aircraft carriers and houses advanced intelligence capabilities. Think that's coincidence? In a letter addressed to the president and chairman of ZPMC, the lawmakers demanded to know more about and pose several questions, information they want to be presented to them. It says these components do not contribute to the operation of the STS cranes or maritime infrastructure and are not part of any existing contract between ZPMC and the receiving U.S. maritime port, the letter says. The committee have very serious concerns that the proximity to the Chinese military's main shipyard provides malicious CCP, Chinese Communist Party, entitles, including its intelligence agency and secure services with ample opportunity to modify U.S.-bound maritime equipment, exploit it to malfunction or otherwise facilitate cyber espionage, it says, thereby comprising U.S. maritime critical infrastructure. U.S. Coast Guard Rear Admiral John Vann, who leads the Coast Guard Cyber Command, told reporters last month there were over 200 Chinese manufactured cranes operating across the United States and regulated facilities. Through the investigation, as though the investigation is still ongoing, the committee's identified serious concerns regarding ZPMC's relationship with the CCP, particularly given the recent discovery of Chinese malware on vital infrastructure related to the port system. And listen to this part. This is a part of another cybersecurity investigation. Some of the modems in question were also found to have active connections to the operational components of the CST crane, suggesting that they could be remotely controlled by a device no one previously even knew was there. Designed to be serviceable from a remote location, which leaves them open to such exploitation, it says. To that end, he said, the crane's operational and safety features could likely be overridden remotely. This would allow the CCP to potentially trick one of the giant cranes into shifting its counterbalance in such a way that it could cause it to crash into ships or containers in the nation's busiest ports. Complicating the issues all the more, he said, was the fact that the niche nature of the cargo cranes, listen to this, and their programming means it's unlikely a tailored cyber response to secure the systems that a tailored response will be generated to secure the systems anytime soon. As things play out there, the CCP going to start initiating and hitting of target sets in cyber. The port cranes are a perfect example. So to counter the threat in the long term, he added, the United States would need to ensure that it manufactured such equipment in its own territory. Look, we're not even making the cranes here. China's making the cranes we're using in our ports, or a good portion of them. So we talk about this also. Over the years, you've heard about how poor the grid, the electricity grid is in our country. And if some of those huge transformers go down, some of them would take 9, 10, 11 months to manufacture out of, I think it's Germany, and get them, even if you can get them to the United States. So we have serious issues with major components that could be at risk. I thought that was important to share with you. It's not necessarily something, it's something that we have to keep an eye on, in the future and in the coming months, because this is ramping up. The cyber warfare is real. It's not going to be, like everyone says, boots on the ground and people parachuting in. It's going to be this kind of attack that could literally cripple our nation, cripple our system, and prevent you, if you don't have some backup, if you don't have a plan, prevent you from feeding your family. So please keep it in mind. The next article, again, I saw was from Hedge, and it talks about Pittsburgh and in Pennsylvania and how the local news station there reported out of Pittsburgh that police will no longer be responding to calls that are not deemed to be in-progress emergencies, meaning theft, harassment, criminal mischief, and burglary alarms will simply be ignored. Such calls will instead be redirected to an answer machine, according to the report, which it also notes that from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., the city's 6 police stations will operate without desk officers present. Listen to this, only around 20 officers will be available for overnight shifts to cover the entire city of Pittsburgh. I did a quick search. Last populace check was about 300,000 people reside in that city. And they're going to have around 20 police officers during the overnight shifts when most crime takes place, most home invasions, most brutal crimes, rapes, murders, things like that. So look at what's happening in this city. Do you think it is going to be limited to Pittsburgh? I would bet that it will not be. And, this may be a test case too, where other legislatures, state legislatures, local cities start looking at this saying, well, we can get away with it. It says the decision was made due to understaffing. Police Chief Larry Sirotto has said he wants to cut the call volume from approximately 200,000 calls per year down to about 50,000 calls, and that the changes are necessary. So the police chief wants there to be 75% less calls for nonviolent type crimes in that city. What do you think that is? What message is that going to send, do you think, to the criminal element in that city and even areas directly around it? It is going to send a signal that, look, it's open season, guys. If you think that the crime was bad in Pittsburgh before, I believe it's about to get a lot worse. It says Pittsburgh has essentially been a victim of a defund the police mentality, with the municipal city council having last year approved a budget that called for a reduction in police staffing. So here's what you get. Police enforcement is at all-time low, according to city reports, with arrests in the city having dropped from over 18,000 in 2013 to just 6,710 in 2022. That is roughly a third, a little more than a third in less than 10 years. Traffic stops also dropped from close to 29,000 in 2013 to a record low of 6,883 in 2022, and violent crime has since risen since 2019. No surprise there. So it's not limited to Pittsburgh. It's going to get worse. You're going to start seeing more of this mentality and more of these cost-cutting structures being implemented. That's going to hit our basic necessities, police force, fire forces, things like that. So what is the solution? No matter where you live, you have to be responsible for your own security. You have to take that, let's say, responsibility upon yourself. You cannot and will not be able to depend upon the police being able to arrive, certainly rarely to stop anything from happening, and even now to take a report and address injuries or anything like that. So I hope all of us need to take this as a dire warning that it's not just going to be limited to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We all have to take the position that it's going to affect broader swaths of this country. We know the crime rate's going up. We know the level of immigration, the thousands, tens of thousands that are piling into this country from the open borders is increasing our crime, and it's going to get worse. So do what you have to do, obviously within the confines of your laws of your state and jurisdiction, to do everything you have to do to have security measures in place and to practice with those security measures and those tools to become proficient. During a time of stress and overload, and panic, when adrenaline's running, you will fall to your lowest level of training. So you have to continue to be proficient with these items, with these tools. Hope that was eye-opening and helpful. I know a lot of us already are, and we work on that as a ritual. I hope those that are not will heed this warning and these articles like this that are making it black and white as to what is to come. The last article I wanted to share with you was this concept. You know what? I'm going to hold this article for tomorrow. We're already at 15 minutes. I don't want to run late today. I've got some things I have to take care of, meet some clients before I leave today for my 1-hour workout. I hope that all of you will continue to work out, get your cardio in, work on your physical fitness. If you're not taking the time to do 20 minutes or half an hour of cardio a day and getting your steps in, please consider doing so. Strength training is important, and as I discuss every day on the show, the diet is crucial. You cannot expect to see results. You cannot expect to improve your metrics, your body fat levels, your weight, unless you implement a relatively, predictable and something that you can stick to diet. Diet in connection with exercise. Get the hydration in. Have a great afternoon. I'll see all of you tomorrow. Bye.